Hey there. How goes it with you? Let's see. It's 12:15. If it wasn't for the computer, I'd not know the time or the date or the day of the week. It's a handy thing. Um, I've been, first of all, the computer's been down, the internet's been down. So I've been forcibly absent um, for a day anyway. And then before that, I've been wandering in kind of a strange space. I've actually been feeling lost, which is interesting. Um, Maybe not the most conducive space to journal in, however. So, um, I'm still thinking something changed, 12:12, but time has accelerated beyond all recognition of time anymore. In the Mayan calendar, the 9 steps of the pyramid, the 9 ages that we went through, each one compressed the same amount of living into a 20 times smaller space. And so you could also say we were living life 20 times faster. And that happened with each time. And then came the last level that we finished on 1028. If you applied the same formula and added more levels, I added 2 more. One lasted about 11 days or something, I don't remember exactly, and the one that came after less than a day. So there is such an acceleration now that it's taken off rather like a tornado, and the mind can't keep up with this. And so, it's a good thing to abide within heart, because heart literally has no problems with anything. And neither does the you who you really are. The I who I really am is unmoved and unchanging. Uh, Now, not that I've gotten to the understanding of it yet, but an example of this is somebody did a biography of Papaji, and he contributed quite a lot to it himself. It's an approved biography. And the title of it, it's in 3 big volumes. The title of it is Nothing Ever Happened. I think that's the title. Nothing Ever Happened. Yeah. So there's a point within that is our reality. That's not a part of the play. It's the mind that has entered into the arena, the drama, and taken the emotions and so on along with it. And it's interesting and everything, but I don't find it as the way into illumination. Not any kind of an illumination that I'm interested in. I do find some people are very bright, but I'm sorry to say I don't generally find that the soul that's there is that bright, is shining that brightly, is the core or the center of that being. And when it's in the mind, there's just an unavoidable brittleness to it. And I'm talking about things that really can't be talked about. I mean, to open your mouth about these things is just to make a fool of yourself. But, that's something that I've been willing to do, I guess. What's new here? Now, um, I think I'm going to put some photos at the end of this video in case they're very sweet. They're photos of animals, and They're just beautiful, very simple. And I want to talk about how we know it's a fractal. And when we take this knowing in as a belief, it flushes up the other beliefs that we have inside of us that say it's not. And so we get the opportunity then to cast those away. And, you know, when something comes into your awareness, you've no need to accept it. You can look at it and reject it. And so I find that when I adopt a belief that I've chosen that I think is the highest and best and right, if you will, that very typically there is a chemicalization or an alchemical response that it brings up all the things in there that are dissonant with it. All right, so some time ago, I adopted this understanding of the fractal nature of creation, of the cosmos. And as we accept such things and get rid of the ideas that don't march nicely together with them, our experience of life changes. And I'm just trying to give an example here of what accepting a belief and then getting rid of the other beliefs that don't go with it, the change that can then come later in day-to-day life. I have to be careful anymore when I look at sets of photos like this. They're just images of animals, mostly little ones, and I fall in love with them, with each one. And there's such a beauty there, and my heart reaches out. I mean, sometimes my hand goes up to the screen as if to caress them. It really does. And there's that feeling. And as I go and I flow with it, I begin communing with the little one whose image is there. But then life is fractal. Everything's a pattern for everything else. There's one picture of a baby owl. You never saw such a thing. It's amazing. Very tiny. And I have a love for all of nature, okay? It exists inside of me. And it's a love affair. I love all the birds. But in particular, lately there's been an owl living around where I am and singing in the night. And it just touches me deeply. I just love these beings. And then it moves on to not just the picture, but all of the owls, all of that family of bird. And then you find yourself loving all the birds of prey and appreciating their majesty and their beauty and the size of them. And it's just marvelous. And how do I say? There's a dolphin who will take you into love for all of the cetaceans everywhere, all of the dolphins and the whales and the beings of the ocean. Everything's a pattern. And so in seeing the thing before you, you can bless not only it, you can commune not only with it, but with the entire pattern right there all at once. And they will respond. I mean, especially if you want to make friends with the dolphins, you'll have dolphins swimming through your etheric space right there where you are. They leave their bodies too. Did you know that? They astral travel. Maybe all beings do it. I have it on reasonable authority that the sun does it, that Gaia does. Our life, as we live it, we think that this is waking life, is really very much more like a dream than it is like anything real. And I think even the mind can crack this nut because of the emptiness of the atom. It's not really there. Well, that being the case, and you see, once we take this as a belief into heart, the knowing that all atoms are empty, your relationship with things just shifts and it changes. And I just wanted to give you the example so that you could look at these images too. Maybe pause when they come up and see if you can't make the connection. Actually, what I'll do is I'll also put them at the end of the transcript that goes with this so that you don't have to worry about holding the video still to see it. It'll probably be a better image. You can do this with anything. I just happen to know these pictures work. I've used them this way myself for journeying. It's a heart journey. It's a journey of love. We're all connected by love. Love is truly the foundation and the base of everything that is. And so if you want to journey into everything that is, enter into love. And if you don't feel love for it, then just start with appreciation, how you appreciate it, and then just ponder that in heart or with gratitude. Okay, so anyway, things are patterns for other things. Now, someone recently asked me, well, I guess people ask often enough, how to tell if they're in heart or what's the difference between heart and mind. That's really tricky to deal with, but I find that the book I Am That will take you there. And the beauty is that the person that you think you are isn't real. And at some point, you're going to have a funeral for that. At some point, we wake up from that because what it is a mind-made creation. And it's not that there's anything wrong with the mind. The problem is believing it by vesting belief in things and then clinging to our beliefs. This is how we have contorted our experience of reality. And instead, it becomes an experience of unreality. As we dismantle it one belief at a time, as we adopt the highest and the best understanding of all that is, and assiduously go in and clean out the old beliefs, our consciousness and our whole experience of reality changes. We are really projecting what we see. We've got the old particle and wave duality thing. And life has shown us that when we're not looking, it's a wave. It's not really anything. And when we're looking, it's a particle. And that's really deep. That shows us that we're bringing substance by the act of observing. We're congealing things into a something that can be perceived. When we're not looking, it's in the wave state. So, in spite of how real things seem, they're not. And this is a journey that mind cannot make because it undercuts everything the mind believes. And it's been my experience anyway that You can take short journeys out into the vastness. Even when you're living in mind, you can do it in your meditations, in your ponderings. But my experience was that I had to go through a period of, I don't know, year and a half, a year or so, where it was kind of like a duel with the mind. I had to be alert to recognize that mind wasn't the heart and the core of me. And it took some time to keep centering in what's real and what's solid and what doesn't change. Watching and observing was absolutely necessary. We have to turn our vision inward and quit looking out at the world. And you won't miss anything by going inward because everything's fractal. And so you contain the world. You really do. You can find it all by going within. You don't have to objectify the world. Really, there's just the subject, the one subject. And we've played make-believe that all of these separate things were real so that we could, oh, I don't know why, but in that way we could interact with them. We played at forgetting all that we know because there's no other way to do this. If you're one, if you're whole, if you know all that is, how can you hide from yourself? That you know everything. In order to play these parts, we had to not know everything. And for whatever reason, we were after the experience of it. Maybe it's what Guru TV is like, huh? When you're great spiritual beings, maybe this is what you do for your amusement. You create universes, solar systems and things. I don't know. But they don't really exist out there. It's projected. And so if you want to go to the source of it, you're going to have to go within and stop focusing on everything out there. Again, if you have a pimple, you don't take the acne medicine and put it on the mirror. I mean, it might hide the pimple from you so that you can't see it, but that's not very effective, is it? We are that. And mind has to be set aside. Its disbelief has to be ignored to take this journey. And so what I found was about a year period where mind fought very hard because it was being pushed out of domination. Your mind is dominant. If you're identified with mind, your mind is in charge of you. And it calls the shots. And until we look and we recognize, hey, wait a minute, I pre-exist mind. I'm not that. You know, it's like in some families, the kids are in charge. How does something like that happen? Who knows? But it's a fact. In some families, the kids actually sleep in the master bedroom and boss the parents around. Any kind of crazy thing can be a reality in this dream that we're all dreaming. It's kind of like a semi-lucid dream. We have a certain level of control here. But I'm a lover of truth with a capital T. I'll take truth over anything and everything. Even if it rends me limb from limb, I could care less. Truth in my world, in my being, is elevated over, I don't know what would be above truth. Now, truth with a capital T is another way to say source or God or whatever. But nothing matters more Nothing whatsoever, including the whole physical creation. Truth is more important than anything. And so I'm on this crazy path that I share with you guys, and you get to see. Now, there's one more thing I'll close with, and I know I'm jumping all over the place, but oh well. I mentioned the other day cleaning the ceiling fans. I mentioned the state of dirtiness that my house is in. I want to share something with you about that. You know how Buddha sat under the bo tree and he said he wasn't getting up until he woke up or died? Maybe you don't know that. I hear that's what he did. I kind of sat down that way about 3 years ago. I'd been on the spiritual path for a very long time. And I don't know what happened. I just reached a point where I was determined that I was going to connect, that I was going to go home, and that I was going to live my life in such a way that that was supreme and everything else was inconsequential. What this means to me is that I don't do something unless heart calls me to it. That includes the dishes. That includes everything. The body calls us to do certain things. They're inescapable. I've got no problem with that. But that includes bathing. It includes everything. Everything. My joy is to follow heart in everything, and I know that the outer is but a reflection of the inner. And what I'm after is the ultimate cleaning. I'm after doing the cleaning on the inside such that it will simply and naturally manifest on the outside. And it's a strange way to live. Okay? It's part of what has me take all the clocks down, take the watch off, and have nothing to do with time anymore. It's irrelevant to how I live. I mean, the sun is the most important thing to the solar system here, and it's very dear to my heart. And it could be that it's just a symptom of modern life and living inside these boxes as we do, these houses, and working inside boxes, the buildings, and driving around in boxes, the vehicles. You know, how often are we barefoot on the earth? We've lost connection. I suspect if I lived in nature like Anastasia, I would be in connection with the cycles of Mother Earth. So, and oh, by the way, I am not advocating that anybody live like this. Let me tell you, it's expensive. You pay a price of total surrender to be willing to live like this. It's not easy. You have to let so many things go. Things that were once important, you know. And so I don't know, honestly, if this has managed to get anything across. Those that are in heart will receive more from what I'm saying because I'm there. And so there's the energy that comes with the video, just like the energy in the pictures. You connect with the baby owl, with the baby dolphin, you know, with a turtle no bigger than a grape. You can connect with these beings directly. It's kind of funny, folks. You know how, was it the Native Americans, Aboriginal peoples didn't they were frightened of the camera, and they felt that it stole the soul. And how Western man laughed. Well, it's time for the native peoples to be laughing, my friends, because that's a direct portal to you, that image. And you could say there's a bit of your soul there. It's funny. Everything we believe, if we follow a heart long enough, will be seen to be upside down and backwards. There is a reality that we come in touch with that is so distinctly different from everything that mind believes at the start of the trip, that it's devastating to the mind. It's a death knell. It's just not only no longer the controller, the dominant one. It's kind of like a nothing. It's just baggage, it's useful. It's a useful tool in our tool bag. The body's useful too. I mean, these things are wonderful in order to have the 3D experience, but they are not who and what we are. I'm fond of saying the body, mind, the whole thing when it comes to who and what we really are. And I'm not even here saying ultimately. I'm just saying, let's look at your multi-dimensional being there. You exist up to levels that are so purely divine, you'd be stunned. And the body-mind expression that's manifest here in 3D amounts to about your left pinky toe of that greater being. And that greater being that I'm talking about here, that isn't even the ultimate of who and what we are, because that's the oneness. Even cosmos itself, which is all of creation, all of the universes, all of the dimensions, all of the densities, all of that, all of creation, even that isn't everything. There's more. That's the work of Prime Creator, if you will. But Prime Creator pre-existed it. There's the void as well. There's more. And we are that. And as we connect up with it in heart, we link into it. And it will prove itself to you. You needn't believe anything I say. Just follow your heart and see where it leads you. Okay, enough. Talk to you again soon.